Hey everyone, good morning to everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I hope everyone is doing good. I don't know, this phone seems like if I look foggy or fuzzy, I'm just asking you to ignore it and just try and see if you can focus on my voice right now. All right, make me understand them funny. May I do everything, test the intensity, the brightness, the contrast, trying to get this whatever thing off. I don't know if because the sunlight is not, it's kind of bleak right now here in Jamaica. So yeah, maybe if the sun comes up, but maybe it might just comes. It probably links to the sun and it will give a better view. All right, I'm going to do a video. It's what do I say? It's one of those multifaceted, unidimensional, seemingly all over the place. You know, when somebody's brain is scattered here, there, and this tree, and they go off at the point, them come back. If you hear all of that, just forgive me today. It's like my mind, a lot of things have been, in my mind, coming across my mind with life. And based on the nature of my job, and we inspect certain things, I came across a quote from a retired law enforcement officer. I'm not sure what her position was in England, somewhere in England. And I guess she, in her experiences with the prison system, she said something, and I'm going to make a juxtaposition with it and life. And she said, and I'm going to quote what she said, Miss Frances Crooks, but prisons matter. It matters who goes into them. It matters what happens inside of them. And it matters how much they cost. Although prisons too often function like black holes into which society banishes those it deems problematic. The state of our prisons tells a story about all of us. Prisons reflect society's back to itself. They embody the ways we have failed, the people we have failed, and the policies that have failed, all at immense human and economic costs. And when I thought about that, for some reason it resonated with me. For some reason it stood out because I'm thinking about myself. I'm thinking about my experiences in life with people. I'm going to take it from the human perspective in terms of human to human interaction. And I heard a girl, she did one of those, those little voiceover sort of TikTok things on TikTok itself. And she said, the only things human beings inspire me to do is to be a serial killer. And I remember years ago, I said, I had asked a question: who is worse of the two, humans or shark? And they said humans. And I said, wow. And humankind over the many years have been deadly, have been diabolical, have been evil, have been wicked, and just all out horrific and terrible towards each other. And can I tell you, many, many instances there are without cause. I can tell you my experiences in life with many persons. A lot of people just hate me, don't like me, maybe because of what they have heard. It's usually envy and jealousy, when you check it. It's just like with David and Saul. David basically treated Saul as the king he was at the time, treated him with respect and honor, and Saul's jealousy just took control of him. It possessed him like a legion that took over the man that Jesus had delivered. And he just couldn't see beyond his jealousy and envy of David because, the women cried, Saul killed 1,000, but David killed tens of thousands, and maybe David had looked better than him. Who knows? And David probably was even more confident than he was. That's the impression I got of David. The Bible speaks about his fearlessness, and not only that he was good looking, assembly loved the woman, them bad too, but he was an honorable man in spite of David's weaknesses. The Bible said, and this was after he committed his acts, and people only think of the Bathsheba sin, There was another one that he had done when the devil I still don't get the meaning behind it. And I pray I do one day, pray God reveals it to me. He did a census that really was not directed by God. It really was the enemy, and so forth. And I think it had cost lives. I need to reread it. I don't want to misquote anything in the Bible. But, you know, my experiences with people, especially women, and I'm going to tell you people, women who have it more than me economically and so forth, maybe they have more clout than I do. They have made my life a living hell. They have tried to destroy my character, my reputation. They have made me uncomfortable. You know, it affects you psychologically and emotionally, in the sense that when you have to be around them a lot, you know, especially in work environments and otherwise, and your spirit is just grieved, so to speak, you know, and it's broken because of how they treat you, and they try to get others on board. They try to get others to ostracize you and reject you and to think bad of you and to hate you and all of those things. And if you do not have God inside of you, if you're not trained, you know, to just love your enemies in spite of, do good to them that despitefully use you, speak to you with disrespect and disdain, look down on you, are condescending, try to get others to, if you don't get the training necessary and have the mindset, you know, all of them compound together, believe you me, you probably will become that serial killer that you don't want to become and end up in the prison system. So I agree with Miss Francis Crooks, that we all contribute in some ways. We don't know maybe the way how we have dealt with other people, you know, how it has affected them mentally, how it has affected them psychologically, how it has affected them emotionally and even financially because of our treatment. I can now appreciate and accept why God in his commandments, 10 commandments, I mean, there are more 10 main commandments. People only stick to that. There are other commands of God. If you have to just read the Bible, you know, that things you must not do. But the 10, let us look at the 10 commandments. And, you know, for most of us, or many of us, let me not give a big quote and say most, but some or many of us who have been to church, when you think of sin, your mind probably thinks of stealing, murder, fornication, adultery, and so forth. But we never ever, some of us, or many of us, tend to look at the first commandments. We go down, way down in the list of the commandments and pick out the sinful things that we consider sinful, and we forget the first. You know, I call it part A and part B, maybe it's 1 and 2, but part A and part B have the first commandment. Love the Lord thy God with all of thy heart, with all of thy soul, with all of thy might. Don't put any other gods before him. And love your neighbor as you love yourself. So if you go against those 2 commandments, which is really one, you know, they're linked together. One takes precedence over the other, which is God first. You're actually committing a sin, and you're actually doing an injustice to humankind and to what God has created, the most important on earth, which is humankind. And when we display acts of wickedness and evil in various ways with our words, you know, James talk about the tongue. It's a viper. It's like a serpent, because it will spew out good things, and that very same tongue, just get it on its wrong side. You wonder if it was the same tongue that just spewed out something good. And in many of the instances, the person that you're emitting the hatred and the evil and the wickedness towards, and your negative words and your gossip and your slander, there are people who have never done you anything, but because of your envies and jealousies and all of these things, and you create mayhem in the person's life. And if it was not for God, whether you're a Christian or not, but if it was not for the grace of God, you probably become that serial killer because you want to take revenge for the pain and the agony that you've been through. And when I read that thing, when she said, we are a part of these people, you may think that you are not, but we are a part of it, because sometimes lack of not even doing anything is a part of the problem. Yes. The blood is also on your shoulder when you don't do anything. You see wrong and you don't do anything. Now we live in a day and age, and I think it's toxic culture, part of the toxic culture, where, boy, me no want nobody say me mash up them this or me, you know, mash up them relationship, and, you know, me no want to say nobody and me cause the person for this. Me no want nobody say this and me wanna, I mean, are we going to always live our lives like that? So let me ask this fundamental question. What if Martin Luther King were to say, boy, Me not bother try to say if we can get any black freedom and all of that. Yes, he became a martyr. He died. He and the other Islamic one there. His name slipped me. Malcolm X. And some others, you know. What if they were to have this? Because they could have said the very same thing and said, me, if you go march with them, people are wicked too. Because some of them black people are not easy, you know. Me, if you go march with them and jeopardize my life. Can you imagine if he and some of the others did not take up the mantle and march so that we can be free today? So many of us black people don't have to be out in the fields working for Black Master or somebody white, you know, in order to survive and take extreme bad treatment, ill treatment. We are now in offices. We now have wealth, some of us. You know, we can basically go anywhere, so to speak. Can you imagine if Martin Luther King and the others did not? They had said the very same things that some of us say. Life comes with challenges. So we can't keep on saying, oh, I don't want them to say me this, or I don't want them to say me. So make them say it. We need to make them say it. And that is why the world is in the turmoil it is in. It's as though this coronavirus, for example, it is almost like an earthquake, a hurricane and tsunami, and a tornado. They've all come together in unity and say we're going to attack the world, you know, in one sweep. It is as though that is what they have agreed to. I realize you have persons who have been vaccinated, those who have not been vaccinated, and everybody fighting against each other. So now we have put down the black and white mantle. They have put down the race mantle, and now they have taken up the vaccinated versus non-vaccinated mantle. And the vaccinated is saying that, oh, they don't want to be associated with those who have not been vaccinated because they don't want to catch this virus. Be mindful that the vaccination came months after the virus came in. And be mindful that the new variants that came out, that has come out, rather like the mu and whatever, however it's pronounced, mu, what have you, that they say the vaccination that you've gotten can't fight against it. And be mindful again that the vaccination that they say that you've gotten will only make the virus, if you should contract it, lessen. Maybe. They can't 100% guarantee that. So you have this foreign matter in your body. You're not sure what it will happen and what may happen in months to come or years to come. And we fight against each other. Somebody said he went to a meeting, and in the meeting, the person who had gotten vaccinated said, utter them fi dead, the ones who have not been vaccinated. Them fi dead. The coronavirus has actually unearthed the hearts and the minds and the souls of us. It has done that. Yes, it has. It has told us that in adverse situations, who will be there for you or not there for you, still in support of you, even if we don't share the same value system, let us put it that way, or share the same ideas, or share the same feeling of vaccination, being not vaccinated. And be mindful, vaccinated persons, that those who have not been vaccinated too have similar ideas. They feel that because of what may be in it, you too can cause them to get ill and to die before time. The persons who have chosen not to be vaccinated, they want to live, you know. I'm telling you, they're choosing that on the basis of wanting to live or not wanting to suffer through life with illnesses, because that's what they believe. They have done their research. You have done your research. So we need to, why is it difficult for us to come to some amicable solution, in the sense that, okay, you choose to vaccinate, fair enough. You choose not to vaccinate, fair enough. And we just follow the safety protocol until this thing passes eventually. Whenever it passes, it must pass. We're not going to live like this all the days of our lives. It must pass. Whenever it passes, but it must pass. With the help of God, it must pass. And when I look at Francis Crook's comment, I said, boy, this lady is absolutely right. I'm not sure how long ago she wrote that. Because of how we treat each other as a people. I'm sure if you were to interview as many prisoners as much as possible, the acts that they have committed were not so-called without cause. I'm not saying that I'm not I'm not lauding or praising what they're doing. In other words, even if somebody killed somebody for them, even if somebody had treated them bad, I'm not saying that they need to take revenge. The Bible says, vengeance is mine. I will repay, thus saith the Lord. So that is something that I will tell anybody. You don't need to take revenge on anybody. Actually, pity the person who has done you wrong, especially without a cause. Because when for them beating come, my goodness gracious, maybe I use him and I forgot beg God. If you say, God, stop now. Do me, I beg you, if your man say you. I'm just saying. So we don't need to take revenge. It's something I tell myself. Remember, the fruit of the Spirit is something you have to cultivate. It's not easy. When I think about the persons who have done me wrong, I went through almost like an episode of anger within me. I said, God, why? Why do these people seemingly get away and I've never done them wrong? I've tried to even be nice and more nice. I am the worst they became. It's like I felt like a David against a Saul or Sauls, and I've never done them any wrong. I can tell you that it has nothing to do with perfection. I've done people wrong. I've been wrong in terms, especially me kind of face it. If you come with foolishness to me cuss you off. And I've had to ask God to work on that, because I don't want to be the kind of Christian who use my tongue to bless and then use the same tongue and curse. And when I say curse, I'm not talking about necessarily, maybe sometimes these words, bad words, what we call bad words, sound better than some of the words that we use against people. Because some words out there, trust me, bad words much better. It's just that, it's just the association of the words and so forth. People, my encouragement to each and every one of us, I'm speaking to myself also. Every time I do my videos, I speak to myself. We have to try and follow the commandments. You see, that first one especially, when you do it, it will allow you to follow the others, because you'll want to please God and you want to do good to others. One of your daily mantra can be, how would I feel if somebody did that to me? How would I feel if somebody spoke to me like that, looked at me like that? Let me try not to do the same. There's a weakness that I have, and I say, God, you have to help me with it. Like when I'm on the road, and mommy says, sometimes I get miserable like she come here, and I answer with this annoyance. I don't know, and I say, God, I hate it. Like I feel it, and I said, God, deal with it. You have to daily put it before God. Or when I'm on the road, I may get miserable, and I don't want to be like that. I don't want to develop that attitude of being, because you might think it's only the road you have it. You like execute it on. You'll do it when you go home. You'll do it when you're dealing with your friends, and people after a while not going to be around you. They're not going to want to be around me if I behave like that. Everything this attitude, my disposition is not right. I talk with annoyance. Me being miserable, and no, that's not good. Because you've trained yourself that way, so it spans across other areas of your life. Remember, our 5 senses: tasting, seeing, touching, hearing. What the other one? Seeing, tasting, seeing, hearing, touching, feeling, something like that. But the 5 senses. Go look on them. Just search them. We learn that way, so we can unlearn. So directly and indirectly, some of us have probably caused many to go to prisons. Yeah, because of the things that we should have done or the things that we did not do. We are all guilty. We are all guilty, my beautiful people. It breaks my heart. When I read it, I said, wow, because I know what that feels like. And it takes the grace of God and the mercy of God for me not to be, what would you call a deviant, a menace to the society. Many of these people that you see are deviants and menace to the society. Is what things have happened, is the things that have happened to them. And I'm not saying that people must not take responsibility when they're old. I'm not saying no. Don't get me wrong. But be mindful, sometimes they don't know. So they're the consummate narcissist. That is just diabolical. They're the consummate narcissist. And a lot of persons may not even, and generational curses have passed down on many of them. I was reading the Bible, and some of the very same things that happened to, like, for example, Abraham, the similar thing happened to Isaac, similar happened to Jacob, and it just continued. And I said, my God, this thing is serious. You have to, if you want, we have to try and cultivate generational blessings down to our families, to our friends, and to the other members of the society, of the world. People, let us stop fighting against each other, please. It is not good. And sometimes persons wonder what kind of cross is this in the land or upon them families or upon them friends or whoever they encounter. You have to think about the things that you have done to others. So while you think, I tell people, whatever you do, God is seeing you. He is seeing you. God is seeing you. You cannot hide from him. You cannot fool him. He's seeing every single thing that you do. Especially when you treat people bad without a cause, with your words and with your actions, whether behind their backs or in front of them. Don't do it. Let us not be the cause for many to go down the wrong path. Please. And I'm saying it to me. Believe you me. All right, my beautiful people. Have a good one. Love you. Stay blessed and stay sweet. Have a good one and God bless.